we're going to talk a little bit about one of my favorites. We got another anniversary going on here.
Game and Watch
40th anniversary.
Game and Watch.
See, we're covering all the anniversaries appropriately on the zeros
Fives and
the
zeros.
fives.
That's
zeros and fives. Don't come at me with any other bullshit.
It's been 17 years.
Oh God, 21 years. So Game & Watches, holy fuck. Game & Watches are great. 40th anniversary. The Game & Watch was created by Gunpei Yokoi as a small wallet or credit card sized almost.
Today, April 28th.
Oh, nice. Credit card wallet sized portable game that you could play on the train, waiting for a bus, anywhere. It fits in your pocket. They started off with very simple ideas like a parachute.
Ball was the first one, right?
Ball. I have the ball recreation that Club Nintendo did. That was very cool.
I should have used my points and got that.
I was so happy that I was able to cash that in and get that.
And it's an accurate represent.
Yeah, I mean, it says Club. It has like a little Club Nintendo stamp on the back, but yeah, I mean,
it's the same game.
You pull it out, it's the same game.
So Nintendo somehow had the Game & Watch factory still somewhere going on.
Yeah,
and went sure. It started. That's so weird, but cool that they did that.
Yeah. So LCD screens, and they are fun. They sold like crazy. They did very, very well.
Well, they came out at a time when I guess still the heavy hitters were like a lot of those like late 70s, early 80s, like still had those like Mattel and Coleco LED ones, right?
Right, exactly. I think they were the first, company to really shrink down the size of portable games.
Sure.
And they did so by relying, like they always do, like Nintendo always does, relying on cheaper technology. They were using just LCD screens, liquid crystal display screens that you would find in calculators and things like that. I have fond memories of Game & Watches. I think I'm just that right age where I can still say I actually grew up with them and I had some and I played some. There are a few that I remember very clearly. One that I had was the Mickey Mouse Panorama Color one, which is actually one of the rarest Game & Watches.
Okay.
I don't have it anymore. I sold it. It had a broken lamp. But still,
Someone can fix it probably.
I don't know if that's fixable. Basically, the LCD segments of it started to burn out in certain spots, and I got that one from, I believe, my parents. And another one that I had was the Legend of Zelda dual screen one, which I got from my grandmother, and I still have that. And that Legend of Zelda one, they got pretty complex.
That was one of the last ones, right?
Yeah, it was one of the later ones.
Late 80s, early 90s?
Yeah, dual screen, late 80s, I believe. And it's interesting because it's two screens. On the bottom screen, you have to move back and forth and avoid Stelphos, the skeletons, trying to stab you from beneath on a platform.
Yes, it's like a traditional one.
Yeah, and what you do is you move back and forth to avoid getting stabbed by the skeleton. And when you move all the way to the right, you can attack with your sword a moblin. And after you beat a certain number of them, you climb steps and you fight a dragon on the top screen. And
August 89.
89. Makes sense. I got it for my birthday that year.
Do you remember what it cost in 89? Like
I don't.
30, 40 bucks probably, something like that?
Like I said, it was a gift, so I have no idea.
They were more expensive than Tigers, I know that.
Yeah, but they were actually fun to play. And that Zelda one actually had levels. Like you could beat it. Like I think there was like 7 pieces of Triforce to get or something like that. It actually had an end. The Super Mario Brothers one was a lot of fun.
Never played that one.
It's
never played that one.
I remember a kid in my elementary school had it, and I borrowed it from him for a couple days. But that one actually is like a platformer, a very simple platformer, and it was neat. So yeah, I love the Game & Watch. Unfortunately, that technology was run into the ground by like Tiger Electronics. They did a bunch of LCD games. And while you can definitely have fun LCD games, not all LCD games are fun. It required a lot of thought on the designer's part. I'd love to know more about the actual design process for Game & Watches because they are a good time. And if all you've ever done is play a Tiger LCD game, you would not...
They're not as good.
You would not expect these to actually be fun. You would not expect these to actually be able to kill time. Octopus is super fun. I love Octopus.
Yeah, it's all about the personality, I think, that you infuse into... they had the Mr. Game & Watch. Well, it was just a stick figure basically that they had. But it's you got to get wrapped up into this. I guess the small story of the world that's created on it. And Nintendo obviously had the mascots to do that. Well, Tiger was just like, here's baseball, here's football. Yeah, later they got the licenses, but I don't know. It was something about Nintendo. Seemed like they created like their own little universe with the Game and Watches.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense? And then they started to incorporate characters. Like there was a balloon fight one. So that there was some crossbreeding between their video games and their Game and Watches.
There was a 2-player Punch-Out one, or boxing.
It was boxing, right?
Yeah, there was the Donkey Kong ice hockey.
Yes, with the little circular little, and they had D-pads. So,
I believe that. Yeah, well, the Game and Watch is Gunpei Yokoi is credited with creating the D-pad, and he created it for the Game and Watch.
Yeah.
So that's important. That's very important.
the best D-pad ever made, the original NES D-pad, which came from the Game and Watch.
Yep.
And then it's funny when you try to look at the designs of all the other ones to get around like the Genesis and the TurboGrafx one, and how they had to never got close. Nintendo perfected it.
No. Although there are there was those European Master System controllers that had a straight up D-pad on them.
Oh, so they got around because they were in Europe?
Probably
maybe?
because they were European. Yeah.
Really?
That's my guess.
I don't know if I have one of those.
They're neat. They're flat on the bottom, rounded at the top with 2 grooves for you to put your fingers, and it uses a standard D-pad. We've had a couple of them in at the store. They're really, really nice. Look
you got one?
I don't have them anymore.
Packing a deal on that. So I always think of Game and Watches. You know what? You know who I think of with Game and Watch, Ian?
Kevin?
I think of Kevin. Because Kevin had the Donkey Kong 2 or Donkey Kong Jr. one, where you have to grab the key, right? He never let Pat play it. Little thick but quick Pat. He never just let me borrow it. And at the time, I was thinking I had the Tiger LCDs, but they weren't a Game and Watch. They weren't the sexy Nintendo Game and Watch. It was like you were low class if you just had the Tiger ones compared to having a Game and Watch. And I believe they were like $40. Back then, so
yeah, they were probably not
expensive.
cheap.
But the Game & Watch is significant also because, from what I've read, it really, really helped get the distribution network going before the NES in the U.S.
It makes sense.
In the early '80s,
because they were being sold in all the the department stores and toy stores.
But they were also being sold in Europe in smaller stores, like if you had I guess a toy or just a TV shop or whatever. And so it was really
Bet you they were probably sold in watch and calculator shops too.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Did they have calculator shops back then?
Well, it seems like a thing that they might have.
Do they have watch shops anymore? I'm trying to think if they have watch shops anymore.
I don't know.
But yeah, so I think I read an article a few years ago about that, how it was the first, about how someone from Europe had to go over, I forget, it was Norway, basically had to go over and pretended he was a big businessman in order to get the deal to be the European distributor of the Game & Watch, or at least in the Scandinavia. But because Nintendo did not have a relationship anywhere else in the early 80s. So they had to build relationships to distribute any sort of product. So you can make the argument that without the Game & Watch, the NES would have had a much harder struggle to be distributed worldwide, especially probably in Europe, if it wasn't for the Game & Watch to sort of get their foot in the door with all these distributors there. So yeah, it makes sense, because this was remember it was a big 5-year period between the start of the Game & Watch and the NES. That's a huge amount of time. So even get a few years in. I don't remember when I first started seeing the Game & Watch. I mean, I don't remember any. I mean, I was probably too young to remember if anyone had it 83 or 84, but definitely by 85 and 86, I probably remember seeing it being around for sale. I'm surprised that they haven't re-released the other ones. If they did the ball one, why not re-release the Zelda one? They'd sell a ton of them, to even Zelda collectors. I'm surprised they didn't do that. Maybe they didn't think it wasn't worth the time, but if they did it for ball.
Yeah. Just so you know, that controller, the Sega Master System one, is the SG Commander. It's not the European controller. It's the Sega SG Commander.
There's one in Europe. Excuse me, in Japan.
I don't know. It might have been here. Just look at it. It's a nice controller.
Okay. I might actually probably have one, but Sega Commander controller?
Sega SG Commander.
Okay, I'll look that up, Ian.
Yeah, they're nice.
I'm not looking up Phoebe Cates right now. I'm looking up this. Oh!
You should be.
Oh, it's a Hori controller. Oh.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, it's Japanese. Okay. 150 your best offer.
Jesus. I can't believe we had fucking 2 of those at Luna 4 years ago.
You didn't tell me? You didn't tell Pat?
Yeah. Didn't tell Pat. They're cool, though.
I haven't bought anything from Luna in 2 years at least.
Yeah.
Well, I want to spend my money.
It's probably 4 years ago. Why
didn't you tell me?
I don't know.
You know I'm a nut for Sega Master System?
I don't know. Moving on.